Hiya folks, JD here, and today we've got this. This is the JJRC Cygnus. So before I go any further, no doubt you can see the trees, you can hear the wind. We have got a storm encroaching on us, and I thought I would get out as early as possible and fly this before the storm comes in properly and stops me from doing everything filming related. So I'm going to try and see if we can take this guy up, but I'm not too sure. I obviously don't condone and or do dangerous flights, so we're going to try and see how far we go. If we can get to the end of the video, then great. If we can't, then I'm going to have to come back once this storm has passed. But let's carry on anyway and see how far we get. So as you can see, this drone is a folding quadcopter. The two arms either side folded back on themselves for the time being. I will be unfolding them before the flight, obviously. Now, just to do that, as we saw in the unboxing, you have a little switch under here which will unlock them, but you can just pull them out like that, and that then will then lock the propeller arms in place, ready for flight. Look at that. This is such a big copter. So as we can see on the front, couple of features before we go any further. We've got a camera on the front. This quadcopter does come with altitude hold. The transmitter as well does allow for FPV relay, obviously because you have Wi-Fi built into the camera, therefore that streams back to the JJRC app on your phone. Now let's just have a quick little look at the transmitter. I've got the transmitter fitted with my phone already. Now this is properly secure. I don't have any issues with this whatsoever. There are a couple in the corner here, left and right. There are a couple of squishy, almost like foam plates that your phone sits into, and also, I don't know how well you can see this, but the transmitter there has got a lip on the edge. So even if that foam was to move, the transmitter itself the phone isn't going to fall out because of these lips either side on the transmitter. Look at that. That's quite a size. That's amazing. All right, so here we are. So far, I've put the batteries in, we've turned on the transmitter, we've bound it to the quadcopter with the standard up and down of the left analog stick there. Now, as we can see, the video is relaying, but I have got one word of warning. If inside here is inside the transmitter is a very tight compartment, do not use any batteries like this. These batteries have a covering on them, almost like a waxy covering. Don't use these covers at all, as you won't be able to get them back out properly of the quadcopter. Something quite standard like that, standard little battery, then that will work quite well. Alright, so let's give it a try. Okay, we're up, we're off, we're going. We're in speed mode 3, and she is quite powerful. Now obviously, as you can see, is a little bit jerky to begin with. I am, for the second, combating this wind. I'm trying to see whether or not it's viable to fly in this. This is speed mode 3, and she's not the quickest, but she's powerful, and that's exactly what we need. This is what I think we've been missing from a couple of quadcopters of late, is the actual power. When you crank up the power to speed mode 3, you need that power to be delivered. And wow, this thing does deliver it. Okay, let's try the other speed modes. So this is speed mode 1. She's still really good. 2 beeps, speed mode 2, and she dips forward a little bit more. Motor's giving us a little bit more power. Speed mode 3, this is the ultimate. This is as fast as it gets. Look at her go! So far, I think this wind is actually worse if you're a person. Or if you're the trees in front, it seems really strong. But obviously it's not interfering with the flight that much, so I'm going to try and see if I can keep on going. So this does deliver quite a high amount of power. I had a comment that said that I think, if memory serves, the predecessor of this, the motors were absolutely terrible, and I was really hoping that this wasn't going to be the case with this one. Oh, and it so isn't. I mean, as I'm sure you can see, this is really doing well. So it's cutting through the breeze, it's able to turn, it turns on a sixpence. Look at it go, without any issue whatsoever. Comes back, and then if I turn it, look at that. And the motors aren't very loud either, they're really quite quiet, which is something I didn't expect from this. Normally with the lighter quadcopters like this, I am often a little bit wary because the motors themselves are often somewhat underpowered, but not with this. This is powered, I think, correctly for the weight. Because with this, what you need is a quadcopter which is nice and light, isn't too heavy to carry, but that the slightest breeze, like we've got here today, isn't going to affect how it flies. Because trying to find, especially in the UK, the perfect day to fly is an absolute nightmare. And to be honest with you, you're never ever going to get one. It's either dark, it's either raining, it's windy. There's always something that's going to stop you from flying. So having a nice light quadcopter like this with powerful motors is exactly what you need. Look at that as well. The LEDs are really bright. So blue at the back, green at the front. I'm often a little bit wary of these sort of domed LED covers like this, just because they often detract from the brightness of the LEDs. But once again, this is not happening. They either have used extremely bright LEDs or they've doubled them up. Yeah, this is very good. I'm really quite happy with this. I'm having so much fun with this. Sorry, let's try and see if we can land it. So, there we go, bang, no problem. Lands without any issue. Here you can see the video relay. So you can see the video itself, it looks to be good quality. We often get this. We can only have a little look and see what the quality is like once we're editing it. But as you can see, that looks really quite good. And the refresh rate is really quite high. Okay, let's take her back up again. So what we're going to do in order to take her back up, to land her, we've got this little button here. To take her off is this one. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So in 3, 2, 1, up she goes. Hello. Back into speed mode 3. Cutting through the air. I'm still recording video. I want to get as much video as possible from this guy, so we can see exactly how, what the resolution is like, what the refresh rate is like, and see how well that camera works. Alright, let's bring him back to me then, and let's land him. Let's bring him down. Oh, a little bit bumpy, but it does it without any issue. Alright then folks, let's get a verdict. Alright then folks, so what do I think of this? Well, I'm extremely surprised because from the feel of it, it feels quite plasticky. I didn't think there'd be a lot of, I didn't think this would be up to the grade, if I'm honest. It just looks like it is, which often means that it isn't. But I'm obviously a little bit speechless. I thought that it was going to be far underpowered than what it is. Now these motors aren't anything special. They're just standard quadcopter motors, but I tell you what, in speed mode 3, wow, they cut through the wind. About the propeller arms, so as you can see, there are 4 little buttons here. You can just pull the buttons down, and you can just fold the quadcopter arms in. I love that. I really love that. Just because it now means you can take it in a much smaller bag. As we're here, let's turn that off. Having an off button underneath as well is great, because often what you find is when you come down and if you crash, you will land on the top, and that often does kill the button a little bit and does make it harder to turn it on and off. So the camera, well, we've recorded quite a bit of video and I'm eager to see how this camera holds up. So obviously in the video I'll comment on that in the ticker underneath here, just to let you know exactly how that camera reacted. Altitude hold works extremely well. Obviously today there's a little bit of feathering because we've got this wind coming in, so the pressure is altering, so therefore the quadcopter is moving. Oh look, I've lost a little nodule. I'll have to replace that when I get home. Now obviously, as you can see from this, I did crash it. I crashed it once and you can see I scuffed up. Now how I did that was quite simple. When the quadcopter came in and I was going to automatically land her, she hit the floor, she bounced, and then she flipped herself over. So pretty much she was coming down and she bounced and then she flipped herself over and scraped herself across the ground. Now that is quite a harsh landing because obviously all the impact is going on these little nodules here, but it's ricocheting back down into the motors. I had no problem with her afterwards being taken back off or flying. Obviously if you crash in a lot harder way, then I can't recommend that it is going to work, but what I can say is from a light crash, this thing does hold up without any issue at all. What about the transmitter? Well, the transmitter, wow, okay, so this is brilliant. Again, I love the fact that your FPV that your phone sits inside the transmitter, because often I feel that the FPV booms, sometimes they don't hold my phone exactly as I want them to. This thing does. And also when you're flying it, oh my god, the feeling is incredible. It feels as if you're flying like a massive aeroplane or something. Just because the sheer weight and the size of this transmitter, as well as the fact that it is really quite chunky. does mean that as you're flying, you are getting a really great feeling from this. Now, there are far too many buttons on this, I think, and I've only used the three of them, the speed up mode, automatic landing and automatic takeoff. Now obviously all the other ones, like you've got the trims either side, you've got fine tuning as well over here, you've got the on and off button over here as well, you've got feedy flips. There are a lot of buttons to contend with, but I didn't find it overly confusing, or I didn't find it too much of an effort to go through everything. So I'm really happy with how the transmitter works as well, and also transmitter range. I mean, obviously I always say that we get down to the bottom there, that is quite a way away. I don't know, I will have to look at exactly how long that is. I did measure it once, but I've totally forgotten. So I will have to have a little look and see how that goes. But all in all, this transmitter I'm really happy with. So there we are, folks. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.